Hi, my name's Damon and welcome to another CyberWatch tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to install the 1Password desktop application. I'm going to assume that you've gone through and signed up for 1Password, and we're going to start this tutorial logged into the website. You can find some written tutorials for using 1Password at my blog www.cyberwatch.com.au/using 1Password. Okay. So once you've logged in, up in this top right hand corner we've got a menu which will be your username. We'll click on the little drop down there and click on Get the Apps, and that'll take us to the download page. So I'm using Windows, so I'm going to select 1Password for Windows. Obviously if you're using Mac, then you'll click on the 1Password for Mac. We'll let that guy download. It's only a small file, and when that finishes we're just going to click on that to run. Now this is just going to ask us if we want to run the file. Click yes, run, and now we install. There's no options for this one, so we just let it go, and there we are. That's all there is to it. Now to log into the application we are going to need the emergency document that was created for us when we signed up. So I'm just going to get that guy. And this will have your sign-in address, your email address, and your secret key. And we need all of those to log in here. So we'll just pop all of this in. You only need to do this the first time you log into the application. Once you've put the secret key in, all you'll need for future logins is your master password. I'll close that. And let's see if I can get this right first go. And we're in. Okay. So that's gone through and synced some passwords that I've already had set up in this account. Now by default it will create a 1Password account for you, and this has got your secret key and your master password for 1Password, which is quite handy. They put that in there for you. So now that we're in here, just a few things to point out. There is a search feature, so when you do have a lot of passwords this can make it easy to find them. So for example, if we just do a search for security, I can see that I've got this Security Shepherd login. Alternatively, if we get rid of that and just type in eBay, then you can see the eBay. So that's just a handy way to try and narrow it down, and when you get a lot of passwords in there, that's quite useful. To create a new password, we'll click on New Item, and we'll do that one in a second. Over the left here we've got tags, and then we can also look at categories and security. I'll go through and explain tags in a moment as well once we go through the new item. Down here, this little cog icon is where we can access some further settings within the application. In the next tutorial on the Chrome plugin, I'll go through and explain some of those. And probably the only other point would be the lock. So if you're going to walk away from your computer or you've finished with 1Password, it's always a good idea to lock this workspace so people don't have access to your passwords. So clicking that just locks the application, and then to get back in you just need your master password. Always a good idea to do that when you're not using it. Alright, we're in. So let's go and have a look at a new item. If we click up here, now there are a whole bunch of different options available. I typically use login, but by all means have a look through. There might be some in there that are useful for you. Now, new login. This top part here is where we can basically define a name for the login. I usually use eBay as an example, but I've already got one there, so let's go with something else. Facebook. The username is generally an email, but it might not be. But whatever the username is for the site that you are using. Password, I'll come back to that in a second. Now I mentioned tags. Down here we can add any tag that we want. So I'm going to call that one social media. And when we save that, that tag will appear in this list. And then by clicking on the social media tag, then that will then highlight any password we've got in this list that contains social media. And that's just another really good way for filtering our passwords, and I'll show you that in a second. So this is obviously where you can type your password in. Now if you have a good password already, you can just type it in as you please. That's a terrible password, by the way. But this little icon over here is our password generator. And so this is where we can go through and have 1Password automatically generate a password with a variety of options available. So this little slider will adjust the length. Now there are some sites that will have a restriction on length, so that's quite useful. We can obviously allow or disallow digits and symbols. And again, there are some sites that are going to have some restrictions, unfortunately, on what we can use. So if you come across one of those, that's where you can adjust that so that it will meet the requirements. If you don't like that jumbled mess, you can click words as well. And what this will do is just pick 4 random words, or however many depending on the slide bar, and you can change that separator as well. I tend to go for the random mess of characters, usually around 24, 25 characters is about what I set my passwords at. And once you've got the password in the box that you're happy with, you just click outside it and it will automatically fill it in. And we can see that's there. So that's really all there is to it. If we click save now, we can see we've got our Facebook password and we're good to go. Now I mentioned tags. See how we've got social? That's interesting. It's actually created 2 tags. One for social and one for media. Well, there's a feature I didn't know about. So if we click on social, it will show us Facebook. If we click on media, we will get Facebook as well. Now one I prepared earlier was shopping for eBay. So based on that, if we come back into our Facebook, up here we can edit the details of that. And it's taken both of those words and created 2 tags, which is something I didn't know it would do. You learn something every day. And we'll save that, and you can see now media is gone. So that's a good way to keep those filtered. Alright, how do we use one of these password entries now that we've got it in 1Password? Well, if we come back to our browser, let's just set up a session to a website that we're interested in. Let's pretend it's eBay, and we're going to go to the sign in page, and we're going to type in a username. Okay, so now we need the password. So if we come back here, we can find our eBay. If we hover over password, we see we get these 3 icons on the right, and the one that looks like 2 pages is the copy icon. Click on that, come back to eBay, right click password, paste. There it is. That's that simple. Now that's pretty easy, absolutely, but there's an even easier way. Let's just say that you haven't got this guy open and you come along to eBay and you want to put your password in. If you press Control, Alt and backslash at the same time, that will bring up what I call the mini menu. And from here you can search again, which is very handy. And it's the same thing. Once you've got your eBay, right click, password, paste, and we're good to go. It's that simple. So that was Control, Alt, and backslash. You can also access the password generator from in here and the settings menu. And also, if you did want to make a change to an item, you could right click and say view in 1Password or edit in 1Password, and that'll bring that interface back up. So it's just a nice way to interact between the web page and the application. Alright, that's pretty much it for the basic usage of the desktop app. I hope this has been informative, and check back soon for another tutorial on how to use the Chrome plugin for 1Password. Thanks for listening.